So Iowa just absolutely destroyed Michigan State. But honestly, the final score doesn't really tell the real story of how this game actually went. Because if you watch this game from start to finish, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This might genuinely have been one of the ugliest basketball games I've seen in a long time. I had two games running on a dual screen, LSU versus South Carolina on one side and Iowa versus Michigan State on the other. And the difference in quality between those two games was crazy. Now here's the wild part. Iowa actually scored half of their total points in the fourth quarter. Think about that for a second. Half their points came in the final quarter. That tells you everything you need to know about how rough this game was. At the end of the first quarter, Michigan State had just 4 points. 4 points in an entire quarter. For a team ranked in the top 10 nationally, that's honestly shocking. And it didn't get much better either. Michigan State finished with single-digit scoring in 3 of the 4 quarters. It was one of the most painful offensive performances you'll ever see. But to be fair, this wasn't just a Michigan problem. Iowa wasn't playing good basketball either. In fact, Iowa's offense looked completely lost for most of the game. Until the fourth quarter, their execution was honestly terrible. One of the strangest things was their offensive approach. They basically stopped running pick and rolls entirely. Instead, both teams kept forcing these old-school high-low post actions over and over again. The idea was simple. Get the ball to one big at the high post, while the other big posts up inside. Then try to feed the ball down low. But the defense was reading it every single time. Michigan State defenders were literally standing 8 feet off Hannah Stolka at the free throw line, daring her to make a play. And what happened? Pass after pass kept getting tipped or deflected. There was a stretch where Stolka had 4 straight passes deflected before she even attempted a shot. That's how ugly the offensive flow was. It was just bad basketball on both sides. Now in the fourth quarter, things finally changed. Credit to Sydney Falter and Taylor McCabe, because they hit some absolutely massive three-pointers when Iowa needed them. Without those shots, Iowa might have struggled to score at all in that quarter. And the fourth quarter was just chaotic in general. There was even one play where a pass to Ava Hayden was thrown so badly that it went through her legs, bounced perfectly to Hannah Stolka, and somehow turned into a layup. That's the kind of quarter it was. But to Stolka's credit, she stepped up late. She made some big plays when Iowa needed them most. And honestly, that's the thing with her. Defensively, she's almost always solid. But offensively, there are games where she looks incredible and other games where it's incredibly frustrating to watch. This was definitely one of those roller coaster performances. Meanwhile, players like Sid Swords and Olivia Olson struggled defensively. Early in the game, Olson looked decent, but overall nobody on either team could really score consistently. The shooting numbers tell the whole story. Michigan State shot 27% from the field and just 4 for 21 from 3, which is around 19%. That's brutal. And Iowa didn't exactly light it up either. They only attempted 13 three-pointers the entire game. In modern basketball, that's just not a lot. At the end of the third quarter, both teams were sitting in the mid-30s in total points. So yeah, it was ugly. There's really no nicer way to say it. This was simply the bad basketball game. The most generous way to look at it is that both teams were coming off back-to-back games and just had an off night. But at the end of the day, a win is a win. And Iowa has become really good at doing exactly that, winning ugly games. That's kind of their identity right now. There are games where Iowa looks fantastic. The ball movement is sharp, the offense flows, and they look like a genuinely great basketball team. But then there are games like this, where the basketball is honestly painful to watch. It's like two completely different teams, yet somehow they still keep grinding out wins. And that's why they're where they are. If you look purely at talent across the Big Ten, Iowa probably shouldn't be in the conference final. There are teams like Ohio State, UCLA, and USC that have insane talent on their rosters. But credit to Coach Jan Jensen. She's managed to get this team to compete, grind games down, and find ways to win even when things look messy. And yeah, watching Iowa can be frustrating. I'm not even going to pretend. I enjoy watching them all the time. If I'm being honest, about 80% of the time it's tough to watch. But again, they're winning. And at the end of the day, Coaches are judged by wins and losses. You can play the most beautiful basketball in the world, but if you're losing games, it doesn't really matter. Now, obviously things looked different when Caitlin Clark was on this roster. If you put Caitlin Clark on this current Iowa team, they'd probably be one of the best teams in the country. But that's not the reality anymore. This team has to find its own identity. And tonight, that identity was simple, win ugly, because heading into a matchup with UCLA, that might actually be their best strategy. If Iowa can drag UCLA into a slow, messy, defensive game like this, they might actually have a chance.